up? Welcome to episode 11 of Candid Reviews. So this review is on a book that I read very, very recently, and I was so impressed with it that I had to do my next review on it. So, the book that I'm talking about is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. So to give you a little bit of background, Chris is a former FBI hostage negotiator and also the owner of the Black Swan group, which offers negotiation training to people of all backgrounds. Now, fortunately for us, Chris has put his top negotiation tips into this book, which provides us with a comprehensive guide to negotiation theory and strategy, and also gives you the tools you need to negotiate successfully. Now, the position that Chris takes is that good negotiation happens on an emotional level of the brain and not on the rational level. So as a negotiator, you should practice and display empathy towards your counterpart by acknowledging and understanding their emotions, learning to see the situation from their point of view, and ultimately getting them to feel comfortable enough with you to let their emotional guard down. So it was unbelievably hard for me to choose just 3 key takeaways from this book because I feel like they're all incredibly valuable. But the following 3 are ones that I felt were the most relevant to my current knowledge of negotiation. Okay, so the first key takeaway is calculated empathy. So Chris notes that most people have 2 basic emotional needs, which are to feel secure and to feel in control. Now, calculated empathy will give you crucial insight into why someone is behaving the way that they are. There are 5 techniques outlined in the book to use this calculated empathy. The first one is active listening. So this is talking slowly and calmly to show that you're concerned about how the other person feels. The second is using the right tone. So this is to use a light and encouraging voice as your default tone to put your counterpart at ease. Chris refers to this in the book as his FM radio DJ voice. And the third is reflecting back. So this is where you would repeat the last 3 words that the person has said to you in your next sentence. Now this is because by imitating their speech patterns, you are signaling to them that you are not only hearing them, but also that you are similar to them. Now the fourth is labeling. So this is where you identify and vocalize someone else's emotions through phrases like, "It seems like you're disappointed by what is being offered." Now, by doing this, this gives the other person the opportunity to either correct you or to agree with what you've said. Now, the fifth is an accusation audit. So this is where you list every bad thing that your counterpart could say about you at the start of the negotiation. This will trigger their innate empathy. Now, the second key takeaway is about getting the right responses. So after displaying calculated empathy and you've got your counterpart to be in a relaxed frame of mind, it's important to get the right responses from them. And even simple responses like a yes and a no can mean very different things. A yes is referred to as the fool's gold of negotiation. So this is because people often say yes just to get someone else off their back. A false yes does not signal any true agreement or commitment and is more just a way to end a conversation with someone who is being too aggressive. There is actually a power in a no, and this is because it makes your counterpart feel like they're in control. So to avoid getting a false yes and to get a real commitment, you'll need to ask questions that will prompt negative answers. Now, you can do this by deliberately mislabeling their emotions, which forces them to correct you. Or you can ask them what they don't want, and this will give them the chance to draw their boundaries and to establish their comfort zone. Once you've made your counterpart comfortable by showing them that they have the freedom to say no, you want to get them to, "That's right." So when someone says "that's right," it means that they have come to accept what you've said, and you can use this to commit to your preferred course of action. Now, Chris recommends summarizing their story in your own words to show that you really get what they're saying. Now, the third and final takeaway, which is my favorite, is the unknown unknowns, aka the Black Swans. So Chris notes that on a fundamental level, all negotiations are exercises in information gathering, but some pieces of information are easier to obtain than others. Now, in every negotiation, there is some hidden piece of information that, if it were known, it would completely change the outcome of the negotiation. These are called black swans. So a basic example used in the book on what a black swan could look like, say you were looking to buy a business from someone. Now, during your negotiation with the seller, you discover that they were facing some sort of financial hardship and actually really needed to sell. This would tell you that the seller is highly motivated to sell and would likely accept a heavily discounted offer from you. Now, this is something you didn't know before and something that completely reshapes the negotiation dynamic. Chris provides some important tactics in the book on how to find a black swan. So the first one is get face-to-face time to pick up verbal and body language cues. This is because too much is lost with impersonal media like email and text. The second is exploit the similarity principle. So this is because social science research shows that we are more likely to trust people who we see as similar to ourselves. The advice from Chris is to look for what you have in common and build rapport. Black swans also give key insight into how the other person sees the world, which means that you can adopt and speak to them in a language that they understand. This also helps you to avoid making the mistake of assuming that the other person is crazy just because you don't understand their behavior. What this usually means is that you are missing important information. So, to conclude this review, I just want to say that this was one of the most interesting and incredibly applicable books that I've read to date, and I've actually started using these techniques in my day-to-day interactions with colleagues and clients at work. Chris makes the book really easy to learn from. This is because every chapter at the end contains a summary of the key learning points for you to take away and apply to your life. Now, I mentioned at the start of this review that Chris runs training sessions through his company, the Black Swan Group, and I checked them out online. They look really good, so I'm seriously considering using this year's professional development fund to take some of his courses. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching. See you next time.